Edible flowers identification and use. I think the garden is the best place to start when you want food that feels a little magical. Flowers are not just pretty faces for your windowsill. Some of them are delicious, and they can turn an ordinary Tuesday dinner into something you remember. I have been snacking on petals for years, and I still get excited every time I find a new one I can toss into a salad or steep into tea. Why bother with edible flowers? Let me tell you why I keep going back to flowers in the kitchen. First, they taste amazing, and nothing beats that pop of color on a plate. Second, they make me feel connected to the season. When the nasturtiums bloom, I know summer is really here. And third, they are surprisingly easy to use. You do not need fancy techniques or a chef degree. If you can pick a leaf of basil, you can handle a flower. The big thing to remember is not every flower belongs on your plate. Some look gorgeous, but will send you running for the bathroom. So identification is everything, and that is where we start. How I identify a flower I can eat. My rule is simple. Never eat a flower unless I am 100% sure what it is and that it is safe. I use 3 steps, and I never skip one. Step 1 is to know the plant by name. Common names get confusing because one name can mean 5 different plants depending on where you live, so I learned the Latin name too. It feels nerdy, but it keeps me safe. If I cannot pin down the exact species, I do not eat it. Step 2 is to check 3 sources minimum. I use a good field guide I trust, plus a university extension website, and I ask a local gardening group. If all 3 agree that the flower is edible and they show the same photos, I feel confident. Step 3 is the lookalike test. Some edible flowers have toxic twins that grow right next to them. Foxglove looks a lot like comfrey to a newbie, and one will stop your heart. So I study the leaf stems and how the flower attaches. I look at bloom time and smell. If anything feels off, I walk away. And please do not pick flowers from roadsides or public parks that get sprayed. You want clean blooms from your yard or a trusted organic grower. I grow most of mine in pots, so I control what goes into the soil. My favorite edible flowers and how I actually use them. Nasturtium is my ride or die flower for the kitchen. The whole plant is edible and the flavor is peppery like a radish with a hint of honey. I love the round leaves as much as the blooms. I pick them in the morning after the dew dries because that is when the flavor is brightest. I rinse them gently and spin them dry. Then I stuff the blossoms with soft goat cheese and a little lemon zest. It takes 5 minutes and people think you are a genius. The leaves make an awesome pesto when basil is not in season. I also tear them into green salads for bite. If you like a little heat, try pickling the seed pods. They taste like capers and they are fantastic on pizza. Calendula looks like a mini marigold, and it has a gentle, earthy flavor. Some people call it poor man's saffron because the petals give a golden hue to rice and soups. I dry the petals in summer and keep a jar in my pantry. When I make chicken soup in winter, I toss in a pinch, and suddenly it looks like sunshine. Fresh petals are great, sprinkled over scrambled eggs or mixed into butter with a bit of sea salt. Spread that on warm sourdough, and you will be happy. One note on identification. Real calendula is Calendula officinalis. Do not confuse it with French marigold or tagetes, which can upset your stomach. The easy tell is the smell. Calendula smells slightly resinous and herbal, while tagetes smells pungent and strong. Borage is the cool cucumber flower. The blooms are brilliant blue stars, and they taste exactly like cucumber with a hint of sweetness. The plant gets scruffy and big, but bees go crazy for it, so I always keep one in the garden. I freeze the flowers in ice cubes for summer drinks. A gin and tonic with borage ice cubes is my favorite way to feel fancy without trying. I also scatter them over chocolate cake because the blue against dark chocolate looks stunning, and the fresh flavor cuts the richness. The leaves are edible too, but they are fuzzy, and I only use the very young ones chopped fine in salads. violet, and pansy. These two are cousins, and they are the sweethearts of spring. Both taste lightly floral and a little like wintergreen. Violets are usually smaller and grow wild in lawns. Pansies are the bigger faces you buy at the nursery. I candy them for cake decorating. You just brush the petals with lightly beaten egg white, then dust with superfine sugar and let them dry. They keep for months in an airtight tin. I also infuse them in vinegar for a gorgeous pink salad dressing. Just pack a jar with Bloomsport warm white wine vinegar over them and wait 2 weeks. Make sure you are picking true viola species. African violets from the houseplant section are not edible. Rose roses are classic and their flavor depends on the variety. The best edible roses smell strong and sweet. If a rose has no scent, it will have no flavor. My go-to is an old damask rose that grows by my fence. I use rose petals in jam, syrup, and tea. Rose petal jam with a spoonful of yogurt is breakfast heaven. For syrup, I simmer equal parts sugar and water, then turn off the heat and steep a big handful of petals until cool. Strain, and you have the base for cocktails or lemonade. Only use petals and trim off the white bitter base of each petal. And obviously skip florist roses. Those are grown with chemicals you do not want to eat. Lavender. Lavender is powerful, so a little goes a long way. It tastes floral with hints of mint and rosemary. I like English lavender varieties because they are sweeter and less soapy than the French types. I grind dried buds with sugar in a food processor and use that lavender sugar in shortbread. I also add a pinch to roasted chicken with lemon, and it is amazing. If you put too much, it will taste like perfume. So start with a 1/4 teaspoon and adjust. Chive blossoms. If you grow chives, you get a bonus crop of purple pom-pom flowers. They taste like a mild onion with a floral finish. I break the flower heads into individual florets and sprinkle them on baked potatoes, sour cream, or into scrambled eggs. My favorite trick is chive blossom vinegar, same method as the violet vinegar, and you get a beautiful pink onion vinegar for salad dressings. How I keep it safe and tasty in the kitchen, I always harvest in the morning, after the dew evaporates, but before the sun gets hot. That is when the oils and flavor are strongest. I give every bloom a good but gentle rinse and check for bugs. A little aphid protein will not hurt you, but it is not the vibe. I pull the petals off the base for most flowers because the base can be bitter. Exceptions are Nasturtium, Borage, and chive, where the whole flower is good. When I am trying a new flower, I eat just one petal first and wait a few hours. Allergies are rare, but they happen, and some people react to pollen even in edible varieties. If your throat feels itchy or your stomach feels weird, stop there. Fun ways to use edible flowers that are not just salad. I get bored of salad, so here's how I keep it interesting. I mix chopped calendula and chive blossoms into soft butter, then roll it into a log. Slice it over grilled corn or steak. I infuse cream with lavender or rose and make ice cream. The flavor is subtle and dreamy. I press pansies and violets between parchment and use them to decorate cookies before baking. They melt into the dough and look like stained glass. I brew sun tea with Borage, calendula, and a few mint leaves. It is the most refreshing drink in July. Flowers I avoid, and why? Just because a plant has a bloom does not mean it is food. I stay far away from daffodil, tulip wisteria, larkspur, foxglove, oleander, and sweet pea flowers. Some are just mildly toxic and will give you a stomach ache. Others can cause serious problems. Also, I do not eat flowers from florist garden centers or nurseries unless they are specifically labeled edible and organic. Those plants are grown for looks and are usually treated with systemic pesticides you cannot wash off. Growing your own edible flower patch, you do not need big space. I started with 3 pots on a balcony. Nasturtium, calendula, and chives are nearly foolproof, and they grow fast from seed. They like sun and not too much fertilizer. Too much nitrogen give you leaves but fewer flowers. If you are new, start with 1 or 2 varieties and get to know them. Watch them grow, smell them, taste them at different times of day. You will learn their personality, and that makes you a better forager and cook. Final thoughts from my kitchen to yours. Adding flowers to food makes me slow down and pay attention. It turns cooking into a little celebration. Start small and stay curious. Once you realize your garden is also a spice rack, you will never look at a flower bed the same way again. If you have a favorite edible flower I did not mention, I would love to hear how you use it. Drop a comment and tell me what you are growing this season. And remember, when in doubt, throw it out. There are plenty of safe, delicious blooms to explore without taking risks. Happy nibbling, and may your plates always be colorful.